I'm lost in darkness, searching for light. Every step forward feels like a fight. Shadows of doubt creep in my mind, but I refuse to surrender. I must find a way to rise above the pain, to overcome, to break the chains. My existence is a test of will. I won't be broken, I'll stand still. The weight of the world crushes me down. Fear and uncertainty all around. But I deep find inner strength to face the trials length by length. A way to rise above the pain, to overcome, to break the chains. My existence is a test of will. I won't be broken, I'll stand still. Through every storm, I'll find my way. Through every night, a brighter day. I'll rise from ashes, like a phoenix born. My spirit unbroken, my heart reborn. I've walked through fire and emerged scarred, but wiser, stronger, and unmarred. My existence is a test of will, of trials overcome, of a soul made bold. The weight of the world above the pain, to overcome, to break the chains. My existence is a test of will. I won't be broken, I'll stand still. Oh, made bold. Through every storm, I'll find my way. Through every night, a brighter day. I'll rise from ashes like a phoenix born. My spirit unbroken, my spirit unborn. I'm lost in darkness, searching for light. Every step forward feels like a fight. Shadows of doubt creep in my mind, but I refuse to surrender. I must find a way to rise above the pain, to overcome.
Day, nothing changes. All I want is a moment to think clearly, but thoughts come unrelenting, consuming every waking moment. My mind binds me and I can't escape. I shout for help, but no one hears me. One day I feel I'll just disappear. Lost in this chaos, I'm searching for peace.
Hey, greetings and salutations, everyone, and welcome to the Dirt Sheet Radio NXT Post Show Rewind for March the 18th, 2025. I'm Tyler, the pro wrestling hipster, here as always with little Molly Holly, the long-haired Chihuahua. It's just going to be me and the little gal here running solo tonight. Well, I guess duo, not really solo human. She doesn't really add a whole lot to the conversation, just gives a a lot to the cute factor to everything. I know most of y'all actually tune in to see her anyway, so it is what it is when it comes to that. But a lot to, okay, and she's done her obligation to open the show, and she's going back to her nap spot over there. But guys, we have a lot to cover and a lot to talk about tonight. But thank you, Tony. Greetings, by the way, Tony. Good evening, sir. And yeah, we all know Molly. Molly is she is unequivocally the star of the broadcast here, week in and week out. But folks, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all sizes, before we can get into the fun and all of the action of NXT tonight, I do have to give that ever important shout out to dirtsheetradio.com. That is the us on the web. Be sure to check it out. Make it your homepages, your one-stop shop for all things professional wrestling, entertainment, everything you need all in one place. Look at it multiple times a day, just like we do. Not because we're legally obligated to do so, but because we love to do it. Right, Molly? Yeah. All right, guys. But NXT tonight, we had a heck of a show. Not quite as much pomp and circumstance on this evening's broadcast as last week. As last week was the Roadblock event, which was kind of a pseudo PLE weekly broadcast show. Great show, great episode last week. But tonight on the card, going into the show, we had 4 matches slated to happen. Chelsea Green, the the United States champion, would be defending against Sol Ruca. Trick Williams and Eddie Thorpe be taking each other on in an NXT Underground match, which would be tonight's main event. Ricky Saints, and he was called Ricky Starks by Booker T on commentary tonight, taking on Ridge Holland, and then the family taking on the Information Bush, or the Culling, as they are actually called, in 6-person tag action. But this evening's broadcast came to us from the Performance Center in Florida. The main roster is overseas in Europe, which is actually why we didn't have a post show yesterday for Raw. It would have been at like 5:30 in the evening, and it was St. Patrick's Day, so we kind of figured between those things, probably wouldn't be a lot of people around to listen. But next week, I'm planning on running a post Raw show, even though it's still going to be pretty early in the evening. But yeah, so they did make mention of Axiom being abroad, but the majority of the NXT roster was present and accounted for tonight. As the show opened, Vic Joseph kind of ran down the card a bit as wrestlers filtered into the venue, as tends to be the tradition as of late. But that took us right in to our opening match tonight. Chelsea Green defending her United States Championship against Sol Ruca. Sol Ruca coming to the ring on one of those like mini skateboards, and then finishing her way to the ring on the shoulders of her tag team partner, and apparently better and better friend every week, Zarya. I questioned this pairing as it started, but I gotta say, I don't hate it. I don't hate it at all. Shirts. Shirts, yeah, Mac. I get it. Shirts, it's funny, Shirts. And it's not what Booker called him though, Mac. He called him but sorry, got distracted by the Ricky Sharts there. But fantastic opening match. Thank you again, Tony. And Molly is every bit aware of how cute she is. But fantastic match here tonight. I was pulling for Sol Ruca to win here, even though I didn't think that was to happen here. I don't really see them doing a main roster title change on NXT, although that would be pretty rad and would shake things up. But as I said, it was not to be. It was not to be Sol Ruca's night. Chelsea Green retaining her championship here in 9 minutes and 48 seconds. There was some outside the ring chicanery with her, Secret Service out there. But Zarya was kind of able to even the odds, as it were. But like I said, fantastic match. Sol Ruca has come such a long way in the time that we've been doing these rewinds. I'm not saying she's main roster ready, but she's getting closer week to week. It's fantastic. But yeah, but I dug the match. Yeah, it's always sad when anyone loses their job, Tony. It's never good. But yeah, but Chelsea again, predictably, not that there's anything wrong with that from time to time, but predictably picking up the win here tonight and taking her championship back up to the main roster, but not to Europe unless she's flying out after, which is completely possible. I see that happening. I mean, it's flights happen all the time. Hell, for all I know, somebody from NXT could be back by next week. Who knows? We'll see. We'll see. But hey, going from the ring to the backstage, we had Trick Williams being approached by Javon Evans, sharing a moment back there. Evans was saying that he understood Trick now and he was trying to relate to him, but Trick's still kind of in his high douchery here. And he told Javon Evans that he would never be champion like he was. Just mean, Trick. Mean spirited, sir. Cold blooded, Trick Williams. Okay. Cold blooded Trick Williams. I don't know. He's still kind of leaning into a pseudo a pseudo heel category, but not quite. And he's still obviously getting a face reaction. And we'll talk a little more about his reaction and where he seems to be heading here when we get to the main event tonight. But as after Trick left there, Javon bumped into Lexus King. And they shared some words, and then Evan threw a punch pretty much out of nowhere and just left Lexus laying, and that would lead to an announcement later tonight. But from there, they teased Stephanie Vacker walking through the back, saying that she would be out after the break to share some words with the NXT audience. But as we did come back from the break, before that, we had the Progressive Spotlight, which this evening focused on the D'Angelo family. They were here discussing their 6-person tag match against the Culling, or the Information Bush, as they actually are. And I say this pretty much every week, but I like the way that they use these. Um, I will neither confirm nor deny, Tony. But I enjoy the way these Progressive Spotlight segments are used. It's almost entirely done as an interview segment or a pre-taped vignette. Very, very good. It's never really done as a recap of any kind or a clip package, unless, of course, it's a vignette that has clips spliced in. But I love the way they do these. But sorry, in this, Stacks told Tony that he thought he should stay in the back this evening during that match, that they've got it covered. And Tony seemed to be a little taken aback at first, but he came around to it and said that he was proud of Stacks. He's being a good underboss. He's doing what he should do. He's taking charge, and can't fault the man for that, right? But all right. So heading back into the arena, we had Stephanie Vacker, who is the NXT Women's Champion and the NXT Women's North American Champion. Stephanie Two Belts made her way out to the ring, and she opened the promo by saying that English isn't her first language. But she was, going to speak to the audience here, and I want to comment. My wife was in the room during this promo, and she doesn't really watch wrestling. But when she heard Stephanie say that, she actually questioned that. She asked me if English was in fact her first language or not. And I told her no, it's not. But I will say, I think most folks would agree here. Her English has come along very, very quickly. I feel like she must be just doing constant drills, and it's a silly language, guys. I can tell you, I've spoke it my entire life, and I was an English major in university, and it's a silly language. It is. So good on Stephanie Vacker for learning it as quickly and picking it up as quickly as she has, because I think her promos sound great here. Her characterization comes across, her genuine passion for wrestling comes across, and I loved it. I thought this was a great promo. She did a fantastic job here tonight, and as she was speaking, she was interrupted as folks tend to be. But she was interrupted by Jordynne Grace in her pseudo Patrick cosplay tonight. I don't know if you saw the clip that was shared on Instagram. I also shared it on Facebook, and it was shared on the Dirt Sheet Radio main page. But fun little nod there to SpongeBob that she did. But so Jordynne Grace comes out and she's talking her way up. She's stating her intentions here that she is looking for some gold. Telling Stephanie that she's not the only one who's accomplished great things. That she herself last week beat Roxanne Perez, who elevated that NXT Women's Championship that is currently on Stephanie Vacker's shoulder. But before Jordan could get too much out or really issue a true challenge, wham, bam, Jada Parker out of friggin' nowhere, laying her out. Just showing a lot of ruthless aggression, as it would be. Last week, Jada mentioned that when she was speaking with Mickie James, Mickie talked about people, kind of calling their own shots and making their own way in their own destiny. And that looks like that's what Jada Parker's doing here. Just loved the surprise. But she hops in the ring and she shares some words with Stephanie Vacker, saying that she wants a championship match. And they shared a stare down here. Jada cut an excellent promo here, as is typical for her. I say this every single week. I feel like Jada Parker is the real deal. She has every single thing it takes to be a successful long-term main event professional wrestler at a championship level. She's awesome, guys. Jada Parker is incredible. She's probably main roster ready. I just don't know that there's really a space up there right now. It's a little crowded at the top, as it would be. It's you don't want to see happen to someone like Jada. What happened to someone like Blair Davenport? But yeah, Jada is ready to roll here, and we'll get into it. But her wish is going to be coming true here in terms of her championship opportunity aspirations. But yeah, loved it. Love this segment. Fantastic. The NXT Women's Division is, I think, the best in the industry. That's right, Miss Parker. If you're nasty, Tony, that's going. That's a Janet throwback there. I'm really showing my age with something like that. But yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, I feel like, I don't know, man. She's really close, if not there. But I would like to see her have a run with some gold in NXT before she goes north. But yeah, I again, Tony, agree 100% there. Stephanie does look like a champion. I'd like to see a match with her and Charlotte if Stephanie goes over. I don't really relish seeing Charlotte beat Stephanie Vacker, as I don't particularly relish seeing Charlotte beat anybody. But hey, that's just my opinion. Some people view her as a queen. I view her as kind of an annoyance most of the time. Sorry. Woo! Yeah. So that scared Molly. See, and there's another issue with the Flares. They scare dogs. That's going to start some horrible rumor that like they abuse dogs. They don't. As far as I know. Woo! Sorry, Molly. Going from there, we were setting up for our next match. We were going to have some tag team action. Hank and Tank, Hank Walker, Tank Letcher, for those keeping track at home, taking on Josh Briggs and Yoshiki Inamura. I dug this. This didn't go as long as I would have liked for it to have gone. Because I like both of these teams a lot. Y'all know I sing the praises of Hank and Tank as often as I get the opportunity to do so. But someday. But yeah, I always sing Hank and Tank's praises. I think they're a fantastic tag team. They remind me of the Public Enemy, and I like that. They just can't seem to get a series of wins rolling here. Their time will come. I know it will. But yeah, I thought this was A fun match, like I said, albeit a short one. We went 5 minutes, 44 seconds. I felt like this should have had at least 3 more minutes just to get that real heavy physicality in to really let it get going. Because I felt like the match was over just as it was really starting to get some steam behind it. But Inamura and Briggs, they pick up the win here. 5 minutes, 44 seconds, as I said. I would have loved for Hank and Tank to have gotten the win, but it looks like Inamura and Briggs are the ones that are, getting the push here, and they'll probably be challenging Fraxium in the near future. I imagine. Heck, they might even be the ones to take the belts off of them. I don't know. I doubt it. But then again, I always say that Fraxium's going to lose the belts, and they never do. So who knows? Who knows? But good, stiff, solid match here. I understand why Inamura and Briggs went over. I love Hank and Tank. Just, it wasn't their night, guys. Just, it wasn't their night. But I will say this. With Hank and Tank constantly seeking the advice and guidance of legends and established tag teams, and them continuing to lose, but continuing to stay positive and look for that advice and guidance, I think that it's going to turn them into a really nice underdog team. And when they start to get those wins, the NXT faithful, I think they're going to pop for it. I think they're going to be with them 100%, and they're going to be able to tell a really good journey or a really good story of their journey to a potential and eventual tag team victory. Oh my God. Yeah, that would be fun as hell. I would say the Outrunners are a bit more fit than Hank and Tank, but there's nothing wrong with the wrestling bots that Hank and Tank are rocking. All right, there's nothing wrong with that at all. Back, I'm going back into the show. Oh, Jiminy Cricket. All right, so going from there back into the backstage, we had Eddie Thorpe, formerly a DJ Eddie Thorpe, walking into the locker room as wrestlers kind of divided their way, not really looking him in the eye as he approached Ridge Holland, and he told him that they got a lot in common. Both of them are being overlooked in favor of new shiny toys like Ricky Saints, and they kind of rubbed each other up here, being dicks. um, but Ridge agreed with that, and Ridge said that he was going to take care of his sports entertainer tonight, and that Eddie should take care of his. And Eddie said, "Bet I actually look. I'm not advocating." I'm not advocating for a tag team of Eddie Thorpe and Ridge Holland. But I'd be lying if I didn't say that I liked their chemistry tonight in this backstage segment. I don't know, just something about their dual douchiness just swirled in a wonderful concoction of, well, just more douchiness. But it worked really well. And again, I'm not advocating for them being a tag team necessarily, but if that's the route they go, it wouldn't suck necessarily. And it would give both of them something to do, because I don't know what their plans for Eddie Thorpe are after tonight's main event, but I'm getting ahead of myself. We'll get there when we get there, and it won't be long when we get there. But back to the NXT arena, we had the D'Angelo family making their way out to the ring. Of course, tonight it was Chax, goodness gracious, Channing, Stacks, Lorenzo, Luca Crusifino, and Adriana Rizzo making their way out to the ring without Tony D, who was staying in the back per the request of the underboss. That could be their name, Tony. That could be the tag team name of Ridge Holland and Eddie Thorpe. Rizzo, Adriana. Adriana Rizzo's great. She's great. So they made their way to the ring, followed by the Information Bush. I'm sorry, the Culling. Sean Spears' Information Bush, also known as the Culling. I'm a little bothered that that didn't catch on the way I wanted it to. But they made their way to the ring to a pretty good reaction here. I said this last week, and I will continue to say it. But this is clicking. This is clicking for me. I don't know how everyone else at home's feeling about it, but I like this a lot. And I have not historically been a Sean Spears, Ty Dillinger guy. I I just wasn't. And I've liked this a lot. I think his cult leader character has just done wonders for him, at least in my opinion. And I like the extra juice that he's going to have on him as the North American champion here, and it's good. It's a good little TV faction program between the Culling and the family. Um, I will call them the Culling sometimes. But they're always going to be the information bush in my heart, or the educational shrub. There's a lot of things we could go with here. It's not a learning tree, guys. That's trademark. But yeah, so 6-person tag action, and this one actually started before the bell. The family jumping through the ropes to attack the information bush, and this was great. Solid action across. Brooks Jensen looked better here than I remember Brooks Jensen ever looking. He was looking crisp here tonight. Some really solid contact. He hit a hell of a scissor kick, which Booker said he could have, but I don't think he got it from Booker. I mentioned this last week, but Brooks Jensen is the son of Bull Buchanan, and Bull Buchanan had one hellacious scissor kick. So, Book, as much as I'd like to give you credit for that one, and credit where credit's due, sir, I think Brooks. I think that one was coming from his Faja, Bull Buchanan, B squared. But yeah, like I said, also, man, Jensen and Niko Vance hit some really unique tandem tag team moves in this. I really I can't say enough good things about it. 10 minutes, 27 seconds, guys. The finish came when they showed backstage in the split screen Tony D'Angelo watching his family getting close to assuring victory tonight when Tony was attacked by the masked men that were as of yet unnamed. They have been named since then, guys. We are dealing with the Dark State. These 4 men are the Dark State, and they just shellacked Tony D. And this was shown on the screens in the NXT arena. And this caused a bit of a distraction for the family, leading to the Culling, the information bush, getting the upper hand and getting the win. 10 minutes, 27 seconds. Makes sense. They really are trying to make the information bush look strong here, have them come across as a legitimate threat. Um, I dug this. I like the family a lot. Y'all know that. But man, I'm liking what they're doing here with the Culling, the information bush. I think that they are looking pretty cohesive here. Um, Izzy Dame, I think really was that last piece they needed to feel just like a complete faction, a complete unit, and I like it. I'm hoping for some dominance here out of them, and they're a little far back in line, and obviously they're embroiled in this program with the family, but they can start getting some solid wins for Niko Vance and Brooks Jensen. They could do some damage in the tag division. I dig it, absolutely. Yes, yeah. Yeah, Booker called him Starks tonight. But yeah, again, guys, calling 10 minutes, 27 seconds. Fantastic action here tonight. Heading into the backstage, we had Stephanie Vacker speaking with Ava, and they made official an NXT Women's Championship match between Stephanie and Jada Parker for next week. So, hey, all pistons firing on that. That's going to be a fantastic match. And while this was being made official, up comes Fallon Henley of the Fatal Influence. And would you guess what she was wondering about? What she was here to inquire? She's looking for her rematch for the North American Championship. Again, just buzzing around Ava for this. And Ava seemed like she was, again, not particularly pleased with this. But you know what? Vacker's tired of it. She's tired of hearing her buzzing around. And she said, you know what? You got it. You want your match? You've got it. So next week, Stephanie Vacker will be defending both of her championships in separate one-on-one matches. So hats off to the Dark Angel here. We'll see what she can do. I was curious what they were going to do in regards to her North American Championship. You know, we CJ and I last week discussed the possibility of maybe her vacating it, them doing a tournament, which really would have pissed off Alan Henley. She might have just straight up attacked Ava at that point. But it looks like she's going to be defending both championships going forward, which is cool. I'm down with that. Makes her look like a strong champion. She's actually, I think, a lot slimmer. I don't know what kind of regimen she's going on, but that and her acting coach, it's been doing wonders for her character. You know, The Rock was probably kind of embarrassed with how bad of an actor his daughter was there for a period of time. Yeah, Stephanie, she's a champion, man. She holds herself high, and she should. I'm looking forward to both of her championship matches next week. I don't know if they have her drop the North American Championship or not, but we'll see. I'm also interested in what order they do those matches, because like if I were Stephanie, I would think that you would hold in slightly higher regard the NXT Women's Championship as it is the title. So I would want to defend that one first. You know, like maybe even opening match on the card, and then do the North American Championship as the main event to give myself the longest period of time. But who knows what they're going to do with it? I'm just speaking from a place of well, logic. But that hasn't always gotten me that far in professional wrestling. But we'll see what happens next week, though. But back into the arena, we had Carmen Petrovic making her way to the ring with her beau, Ashante the Adonis. Really digging Ashante's bebop and rocksteady sunglasses he's wearing there. Those are pretty rad. I can get behind that. I can absolutely get behind that. Um, Shortly behind her was JC Jane with the rest of Fatal Influence, Fallon Henley and Jasmine Nix making their way to the ring for this matchup of Carmen Petrovic versus JC Jane. Solid action here. Not super long. We went 4 minutes and 3 seconds. You know, despite repeated attempts at interference from Fatal Influence, it looked like Carmen Petrovic was going to get the victory here tonight. And you know, she had her chance. You know, things were kind of winding down. The ref is looking right at that chair. It's probably good that she didn't use it. Good God, Ashante, be better at this. But as you can see, Ashante tried to slip a chair to Carmen so she could, you know, more easily get the win here, take the cheap way out, get the cheap victory. Yeah. Yeah. I always question her, well, not just her, but anyone who brings a weapon to the ring that they can't use. It's, you know, I'm not a fan. But sorry, back to the goings on in the match. Shante tried to slip her a chair so she could get that cheap victory, that heel victory. And despite, you know, their relationship, I guess she's not leaning quite as heel as he. And she does not use the chair. She does not go for the cheap win. And it costs her. JC Jane getting the win here. The 1-2-3 at 4 minutes and 3 seconds. This is God, poor Carmen. Maybe Ashante. I don't know. Maybe he's a really bad influence. Maybe she should have listened. I'm not sure which way to look at it, but she wanted to do the right thing, and for that, she was counting the lights, taking the 3-second tan, as John Cena says in My Time Is Now. Evil John Cena. From there, and I don't I do not have a picture for this. But we hopped back to the backstage in the locker room where Hank and Tank were trying to again hype themselves back up, coming off of a loss, saying that they needed to get more advice from more high level teams so they could learn. In walked Wesley with Tyreek and Tyson, and they mocked and made fun of them. And Lee said that no matter what information they have, no matter what they're told, they just haven't got it. And Hank and Tank looked really pissed off as Wes and crew sauntered away. Uh, from there, we were back in the arena as Ricky Saints made his way into into the ring area there to a great ovation. I dig his entrance music. It's not the worst thing they've produced. It fits him. It's not too far off from what he's used before. So I'm here for it. But he continues to get a really solid reaction here. And hey, this is where NXT did that thing where they have an entrance and coming back from the break. We don't have the next entrance yet. No, 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 no. We had was actually a really good promo from Jada Parker here. So I really shouldn't and can't complain too much about this. But yeah, she was all fired up as she was, talking about how hyped she was for her match next week against Stephanie for the NXT Women's Championship. I'm looking forward to this. I mean, I don't see her going over, so another loss ain't great for Jada, but I'm sure she's going to look great, in the match. And, people can look strong in a loss. And if anybody can make that happen, it's Jada and Stephanie. I'm sure they're going to work a great match together next week. I also do want to mention in the background of that shot there, Carmen Petrovic and Ashante the Adonis appeared to be having quite the lovers' quarrel. Ashante, they didn't look happy back there. So maybe there's trouble a brewing for Ashante the Adonis and Carmen Petrovic. Still never found out what they actually did for Valentine's Day. Maybe that's the issue. Maybe it all boils back down to that. I don't know. But from there, we had Ridge Holland making his entrance for his match against Ricky Saints, or Ricky Starks, as Booker did call him during the match. This was good. Man, Ridge tried to go at him immediately. This was a lot of aggression, a lot of fire shown here. I don't know what the long-term plan for Ridge right now is, but I gotta say this wasn't a bad look for him, and they put on a good match, guys. I thought it was solid. Everything connected pretty well. There was no miscommunications here, really. Really good. My only issue is kind of the finish here. Now, obviously, Ricky got the win here tonight, 12 minutes, 28 seconds. But Ricky took the brunt of the damage, and it really felt like, I don't know, just hitting the Rochambeau and getting the win kind of abruptly. I don't know, it just seemed like it'd be quite enough. It didn't, and it wasn't even really a fully connecting Rochambeau. But the match was solid, like I said. It just that's just a little me being a little bit nitpicky. But I can't complain too much. The right guy went over here, obviously. Yeah, I'm with you on that, Tony. With you on that. But yeah, the right guy definitely went over here. Ricky's going to be on a string of wins, I imagine. But yeah, solid work here. Ricky continues to get a great reaction from the crowd. I just would have liked to have seen him get a little more offense into this and have a little bit more of a dominant win over Ridge Holland. I get it. There is a bit of a size difference there, and they're probably trying to protect Ridge a bit. Again, I don't know what their long-term plans with Holland are, but we'll see here. But again, right guy won. Solid work. After that, we had an advert thing with Triple H and The Miz and Wade Barrett for this roast of WrestleMania thing they're doing with Tony Hinchcliffe of the Kill Tony podcast. Um, yeah, and Tony, that's funnier than anything Tony Hinchcliffe has ever said on anything. Yeah, I think this is. Sorry, guys, I'm not going to hide my opinion on this. I've been relatively vocal about it on the interwebs when they announced it earlier today. I think this is a pretty dumb idea. They're not even airing it, which is fine because whatever. But like, I get it. I'm not the dude's audience, and that's 100% fine. And again, this has nothing. I'm going to get out ahead of this. Absolutely nothing to do with the dude's politics. I could honestly care less about that. Um, it's really, it's just that I don't think he's funny. I think he's on like a Dane Cook level of communicability. So do with that what you will. I guess Tony never stole jokes, at least. There's that. But yeah, so that roast is going to happen. Like I said, it's weird to me that they're advertising it this heavily when it's not actually going to be aired, unless they're planning to do some sort of about face and air it. But yeah, it's. I'm sure it'll be a spectacle. I'm sure. So back in the backstage, our unseen interviewer tried to get a word in with the group that we now know as the Dark State. I have to use that. The Dark State. I want to say Dark Star every time. It's because of the Grateful Dead. Also, there's a really cool comic shop in Yellow Springs, Ohio. Dark Star Comics, very cool. If you're ever out that way, check it out. But they had a pretty good backstage interview segment here. Everyone kind of getting a little bit of their words in, showing a little bit of character here, and yeah, I dug it, and they said that they're going to continue trying to make an impact, and they made it look like they were going to leave, but you know what, they decided that no, they hadn't shown enough to they hadn't shown the world tonight enough of what they're capable of, so they came back in, and I mean, at this point there's only one match left, so wasn't a lot of doubt as to where they'd be heading and where they'd probably appear, as the main event was upcoming. Yeah, like I said, I dug this here. I like them. I like factions. It's probably the fact that I grew up through an era where faction wrestling was, very dominant. But I like this if it's done well. There's a lot of really awful factions that start off with a lot of gas and then fizzle out really quickly. And I really, really do not want that to be the case here. Yes, it is. I really don't want it to be the case here, as I think that they could do a lot of cool stuff. Just keep letting them show a lot of aggression and dominance. Don't let them get defined down into a job situation, and they'll be okay. Before the main event, there was hype for the matches next week. We will, again, as I said, we'll have Stephanie Vacker taking on Fallon Henley for the North American Championship. Again, Stephanie Vacker taking on Jada Parker for the NXT Women's Championship. And also for the Heritage Cup, the young OG Javon Evans getting a shot on the television star Lexus King. Yeah, pretty solid card. 3 title matches, one of two of them containing one of the same combatants. But yeah, thought this, like I said, next week's gonna be great. Next week's gonna be great. But so from the preview for the card for next week, we hopped backstage with Kelly Kincaid, getting a word in with Ricky Saints. They got about 10, 12 seconds into the interview before the information bush grew into the scene, the Culling. They showed up and told her to leave, and they wanted a word with Ricky Saints. Niko made some thinly veiled, not so thinly veiled threats here. Izzi said that there were a lot of big men around here, and Ricky just doesn't measure up. Sean Spears chuckled at this, and Saints looked at her and said that Spears shouldn't be laughing, and Dame shouldn't worry, because he always measures up in the right places. Ooh. Yeah, that was a little raw for network television, but hey, it got a good woo hoot and holler reaction from the NXT audience. Blaine, yeah, you are not incorrect at all about that. The Dark Star Orchestra is one of the best, if not the best, Grateful Dead cover band, tribute band. I would even say they are amazing. They've come through parts unknown, Ohio, Columbus, quite a bit. They're fantastic. Uh, I feel like every single time I have one of these NXT recap shows where it's usually where it's just me, Grateful Dead comes up multiple times. Swear to God, every time. back back to NXT. We it was main event time, guys. NXT Underground. They got the ropes pulled down, the turnbuckles down, and we were ready for some hard hitting stiff action here. We had Eddie Thorpe making his way to the ring, followed by Trick Williams. The ring this evening was surrounded by Evolve talent, which I thought that was pretty cool. Pretty unique way to get them on NXT proper, get their faces there, and a very slick and not heavy-handed way to promote the Evolve program that is on YouTube every week. Well, YouTube internationally, Tubi here in the States, and I believe anywhere else Tubi is. I think Tubi's up in Canada as well. I think CJ said that, but so that was pretty cool. Yeah, NXT Underground, guys. This to me is, one of Eddie Thorpe's, well, not one of. This is like Eddie Thorpe's home. This is his signature match, and I don't know if I can say that after tonight. The match was solid, but they started with about 10 minutes to go in the hour after entrances and introductions were made, and that just wasn't long enough, and that worried me quite a bit. Again, as it was 10 minutes to go when this match started, the match didn't even get those 10 minutes. This went 3 minutes and 57 seconds before Trick Williams wins by technical knockout, just laying waste to Eddie Thorpe, just very, very quickly. Not as quickly as Trick beat Cal Dixon. But this was fast. This was embarrassingly fast. If you are Eddie Thorpe, and I don't think this makes I don't think this makes him look very good. Frankly, like it makes him look pretty bad. 3 minutes 57 seconds. 3 minutes 57 seconds. That ain't great, guys. And and just when Eddie Thorpe was really starting to look stronger here, and see, it's all Grateful Dead. Really starting to look strong here, and really starting to get ahead of steam, and then boom, gone in 3 minutes and 57 seconds. Yeah, Tony, I agree. I think I think you should have won too, but it's Trick, and after the match, Trick immediately, after he said some, pretty mean things to Eddie Thorpe laying on the ground after he beat him in 3 minutes 57 seconds. It wasn't enough that he dominated him in, again, what was seemingly Eddie Thorpe's signature match. He had to, say mean shit after too. But he calls out NXT champion Oba Femi, and Oba answers immediately, and the two have a stare down. And as the two are staring down, Javon Evans hops in the ring, trying to warn them as the Dark State was approaching. And Trick shoved Javon off, and then all hell broke loose. It was just a brawl. The Evolve talent jumped in. They were getting some licks in. But for the most part, they were trying to pull apart Javon, Oba, and Trick. And amid all the chaos, Javon hit that springboard cutter, laying Oba Femi out. Spectacular. Looked great, crisp as hell. And as NXT went off the air, we had Javon Evans staring down at Trick Williams with Oba laid out in the foreground there. Great ending shot. I don't know what they're doing now. Like, I don't know if you're going to interject Javon Evans and have some sort of triple threat scenario going into Stand and Deliver for the NXT Championship. That'd be pretty spectacular and would actually make me question what direction they go in with the championship. This was great. I dug this a lot, and the real kicker is that the Dark State wasn't really involved physically here. They arose, as I like to say, and their mere presence caused chaos and hell just to break loose here. And I thought that was great. I dug that. Yeah, this was cool, guys. I think that they've got a lot of gears in the main event scene now, and some unanswered questions. And hey, it makes me, excited as I am week to week for next week. Really strong finish to a very strong episode of NXT, and that's saying something because they had some big boots to fill after last week's episode, coming off the heels of again like a pseudo PLE in Roadblock. They did a good job here tonight. So solid from top to bottom. But yeah, really looking forward to next week's show. Again, going to have two title matches with Stephanie Vacker and also the Heritage Cup with Javon Evans. And again, I'm assuming Javon's probably going to be knocked out of that Heritage Cup match, maybe by Oba, maybe by Trick, who knows? But I'm loving this. Just again, it sounds so cliche, but there's just so many moving pieces here, and I love it. They keep me guessing in a good way, And again, I say this from time to time. There's nothing really wrong with predictability in professional wrestling. Sometimes predictability is just logic, and there's nothing wrong with things going in a logical way the majority of the time. But I love this. I love this. But y'all, that's NXT in a nutshell tonight. And I think this is a good place to hop from the show proper into our jobbers and megastars of the night. And tonight's jobber for me, guys, this was a pretty easy choice. Yeah, 3 minutes and 57 seconds makes Eddie Thorpe my jobber of the night tonight. As I said just a few minutes ago, this made Eddie Thorpe look wildly weak. They were just starting to get him built up, man. They were just starting to get him there, and I was singing his praises. And wham, just 3 minutes 57 seconds in a match that he has excelled in the past, and there he goes, just down. So again, I don't know, maybe they're planning some sort of tag thing with him and Ridge, so they'll kind of think, well, maybe the singles loss doesn't matter because we're moving into a tag thing. But this wasn't good for him, and it just he's just a roller coaster, y'all. Like they start to get some traction with him, and then there he goes. But we'll see what they can do to get his heat back to get him to recover. But regardless of what happens in the future with Eddie Thorpe, he is my jobber of the night for this evening. But from jobberish things and Eddie Thorpe, let's hop into happier things. The NXT megastar of the night. And ladies and gentlemen, there are plenty of solid contenders tonight to choose from, and I had a pretty difficult time narrowing it down. I really did, and so I'm going to name a few folks here. First of all, Jada Parker. I thought her promos sounded fantastic, so I want to give some props to Jada, and also on the men's side, the young OG Javon Evans. In all that chaos, everything that happened, the quick loss of Eddie Thorpe, I feel like coming out of the main event tonight, the brawl, the pull apart, everything, what's going to stick out in people's mind is Javon Evans hitting that springboard cutter on the NXT champion Obafemi and laying him out. I think that's going to be the takeaway tonight. I think, again, the kid comes off looking like $1,000,000 week after week. So like I said, it came down to a little bit of a toss up there, but I got to give credit where credit's due, just kind of based off the ending of tonight's show. They're framing this in a way where they want you thinking about Javon Evans as NXT's going off the air, even so much as having Vic Joseph say, Javon Evans is saying, "Do you notice me now?" So fantastic. So Javon, you barely neeked out Jada there, but Javon Evans, you are my megastar of the night. Again, guys, can't say enough good things about how he came off at the end of this show. Solid work all around. And looking forward to next week's show already. Again, 3 title matches, 2 of them having Stephanie Vacker. Maybe she'll make it out of next week with both belts. Maybe she won't. Next week we'll tell. And we'll see what happens with the Heritage Cup. Again, I've said this before, and I'm going to say it again because I like saying it, and I like for it to be out there. Because when I make a prediction that is relatively complex as this, I like it to be known, and I like for it to hopefully come true. But I think that the television star, Lexis King, is going to hang on to the Heritage Cup under the augmented Lexis King rules, 1 fall to a finish, which just makes it like every other championship. I think he'll keep it under those rules, and he'll hang on to the cup until, returning from injury, the Metaphor's leader, Noam Dar. Until Noam Dar comes back to reclaim his baby, the Heritage Cup, it's going to be in the arms of Lexis King. That is my prediction, and hopefully a spoiler eventually. But yeah, guys, that is NXT tonight. I hope you had a good time breaking it down and listening to me blather on and on about it. And if you had a good time tonight, fantastic news for you. We're not just here breaking down NXT every Tuesday night. No. Dirt Sheet Radio is always on because professional wrestling never stops. Y'all, we are here on Mondays breaking down Raw. Typically, we did miss this last week because it was St. Patrick's Day and early, but we should be here this coming Monday for it. But we're here Monday nights for Raw. We are here Tuesday nights for NXT. Wednesday nights, you can check out the Dirt Sheet Radio flagship program, which also includes the AEW Rewind. You get 2 in 1, guys. 2 shows for the low price of nothing. So be sure to tune in for that. And then Thursdays, it's our sister show, the TNA Impact show. No real involvement from TNA tonight. Just realized that. We'll see what happens next week, though. But and then Fridays, of course, is for SmackDown or Smack Sound, based off of the logo. And guys, on the weekends, CJ and myself, we do a little thing called CJ and Tyler's Weekend Wrestling Roundup with the W. Hopefully we'll be back doing it this weekend. We have missed the last couple weeks. Life be lifing, guys. But also on Sundays, be sure to check out the 3NT podcast. The guys go live every Sunday breaking down the week of professional wrestling with all the news, the way they see fit, and they look good while they do it, guys. So be sure to check them out every Sunday. And guys, hey, I'm the Pro Wrestling Hipster, Tyler. This is little Molly Holly. And if you do me a favor, be sure, and her a favor too, she appreciates it, if you could like and subscribe, and also go follow Dirt Sheet Radio on all social media platforms. And after you do that, if you could pop over to Facebook and give me a follow as well at the Pro Wrestling Hipster, Molly especially would appreciate that. Guys, thank you so much for tuning in tonight. Dirt Sheet Radio will be live again tomorrow night. Thank y'all so much. For Molly Holly, for Dirt Sheet Radio, I am Tyler, the Pro Wrestling Hipster. Y'all have a wonderful night. We'll see you tomorrow evening. Have a good evening, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in.